Hi, and welcome to the Math Department at Huron Heights Secondary School. My name is Heidi Cordner, and I'm the department head. I will be going through this slide deck with you, and if you have any direct questions that you'd like to ask, my email is heidi.cordner@yrdsb.ca. I'll be happy to answer questions that you feel to me that way. In a subject like mathematics, we recognize and understand that for students to feel successful, they do need to feel like they're being supported at home as well. We feel strongly that a partnership between home and school has been the best way for students to achieve to the best of their abilities. We're committed to providing our community with the support that they need to support the mathematical thinking of their child. So you are not alone. Know that there is a large team here at the school, whether it's through special education, through student success, through the math department, of course. We're all here to help your child be successful in math. In the fall of 2021, the ministry rolled out a de-streamed math program for the grade 9 students. This means that when leaving elementary school and entering high school, students no longer need to select between an academic or applied level. Those students are now combined into one class. I'm going to go over the overall expectations in a minute, but this is the new D-Stream program, which, like I said, started in September of 2021. It is a continuation of the learning that they learned in grade 8. The strands flow nicely from the grade 7 to the grade 8 and then into high school into the grade 9 program. At this point, we're not sure what's going to be happening with grade 10. The thought is that there will be a rollout for a de-streamed program, but we have not received confirmation yet from the ministry. There's also one option for some students to consider, which is called the Grade 9 Locally Developed Math Program. So this program, it's a very specialized program. It's been developed to meet the needs of the students who perhaps have gaps in their math skills. These might be students who previously were in the SSC program, but not necessarily. And in this course, students will learn some of the essential math skills for everyday life, such as money concepts, measurement, and number sense. Usually the students who select this program have been recommended either by their grade 8 teacher or a special education teacher at their elementary school. If you have any questions about it and you're not sure whether your son or daughter should be enrolled in this program, please give me a shout by email and I will hopefully be able to answer your questions. A little bit of information about math in the secondary context. It is a little bit different from what students might be used to at the elementary level, so I'm going to go over some of the key changes. I've already mentioned that the curriculum was revised in the fall of 2021. And it is considered to be a de-streamed math program, and the course code is MTH1W. Whether the students have math in first semester starting in September or in second semester, which wouldn't start until February, the classroom teachers spend a decent amount of time, at least about a week, I would say, doing review work with the students, just refreshing their minds as to what they learned, just as an overall refresher of what they did in grade 8. Normally, classes would be 75 minutes long. This year, of course, it's an exception. We have had 2.5-hour classes, but we know that for next semester and for next year, it's looking like we're going to go back to 75 minutes. We do offer math help at lunch, before or after school. We encourage students to speak to their teachers and to coordinate that appropriately. The marks are calculated using not just tests and assignments. We do observations, we have conversations with the students, and then of course the traditional products such as tests and assignments. When we do have tests, they take place in class and we do them in one continuous sitting. And so what that means is that sometimes in elementary school, students might have a few days in a row where they could start a test and then continue it the next day or the day after that if needed. But what we like to do in the high school level is once you start a test, we do request that you continue, you take as long as you need, you finish it until the test is completed. And we also do not do retests. Most assessments are broken down into the 4 achievement categories, which are knowledge, application, thinking, and communication. And that just means that there's a variety of types of questions for the students, not all knowledge-based. There are some, communication questions where they have to explain their thinking and that kind of thing. At the end of each semester, students write the EQAO test, which is specifically just for math. Traditionally, our board has counted it towards 5% of their course mark. EQAO will mark the test and give the school the students' results, and then we apply that to their course credit. And then normally we would have a final exam. We spend quite a bit of time at the end of each semester going over all of the concepts that we did in the course, and we make sure that students are well prepared to write their exams. I just thought I would go over the D-stream strands that the new curriculum course covers. We've got the social emotional learning skills in math at the very beginning of the semester. And then the order of the next 6 units depends on, this could change from semester to semester, but we go over mathematical thinking and making connections. We do a unit on number sense, things like working with fractions, decimals, place values, scientific notation, and so on. We do a unit on algebra, so polynomials and equations. There's a data unit where we look at mean, median, mode, and so on. There's a unit on geometry and measurement, and finally a unit on financial literacy. One of the expectations that is new to the D-Stream program is there's also a coding component, which is infused throughout the course. It's sort of spiraled into all of the units that are covered, where students are learning the foundation blocks of coding. The comprehensive math program, which was developed at the York Region School Board, has a very strong emphasis on technology. And so a lot of these tools that you see on the screen here would be used in all of our courses here at Huron, not just in grade 9 and later on, not just in applied or academic or college or university. It happens everywhere. I'm just going to go over a few of these examples. So Kahoot is used in lots of different subject areas. The equivalent of Kahoot in the math domain would be the knowledge hook. And so especially in junior grades, grades 9 and 10, we use knowledge hook quite a bit. It's an online platform where it's like a multiple choice quiz type of platform for students to test their knowledge. Teachers sometimes will use that even as a form of assessment. The Desmos tool, this is basically a graphing calculator. It is available online. Students quite often will use it on their phones in our classrooms to do some graphing work, just to check, to see visually and check what something looks like. TVO Mathify is an amazing program. It offers free online tutoring to students throughout the day and even on weekends. We spend some time explaining to the students how they can access this free resource that the ministry has provided, so that when they're doing homework at home, sometimes mom and dad or grandma and grandpa aren't able to help them with the math, and so this is a resource that's available to them. And then some of the other ones, Equatio and Gizmos and GeoGebra, those are things we would use in class most of the time for our instruction. On the screen here, you see the Math Pathways chart. That is not just to Huron, this is the provincial flow chart for all of the math courses that are available at the high school level. The two red arrows point to the option that you have as you enter grade 9. So as I mentioned, it's either the de-streamed MTH1W or the locally developed program, which is for a select number of students. At this point, like I said, going into grade 10, we don't know if the grade 10 program is going to be de-streamed or not for the fall of 2022. We're still waiting to hear. If things do not change, then that's when students would then select the grade 10 academic program or the grade 10 applied program. After grade 10, students then select between the university level, the grade 11 university/college level, or the grade 11 college level. There's also the grade 11 workplace course that's available. Students are required to take a minimum of 3 math credits to graduate. So usually a lot of students end up taking 4, one for each year that they're in high school. However, it's not a ministry requirement. Finally, on this last slide, I have posted a link that is referencing a very useful tool that has been provided by the school board for students and their families to go through and see some of the content that they are expected to be familiar with by the end of grade 8. I always recommend to our communities that this would be a great document to work through in the spring and as well as the summer between grade 8 and grade 9, just as a checklist to go through and see, well, what are the concepts that I'm going to be expected to know when I enter high school. Hopefully this has covered a lot of the questions you might have had. If you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. My email is on the screen, heidi.cordner@yrdsb.ca. Thanks for your time.